Welcome out, all of you great decoders around the world, wherever you may be, male and female always. My name is Logan, your tour guide, and this is Decode Your Reality. And today, we're going to be breaking down and decoding the topic, revolving door. You know, a long time ago, I used to break words into syllables, and this starts with re. Anytime you see re, it means to redo, repeat, reincarnation. The word evolve. You know, what does volve mean? What does ing mean? These are big time layers to the syllables that you can break down. Everything, you know, like there's a lot of layers to the syllables. And is our reality, the question I'm going to throw at you here right now before we get into this presentation is, are we just in a revolving door aspect where you never get out of this game? Is it possible we just change characters? Or is there a way out? Well, I'm going to cover that stuff during this presentation, so let's jump right into it. I just wanted to give a big shout out to all you great supporters of this channel. This presentation is going to be exclusively for you Patreons. It will not be on, you know, the public YouTube. So I'm doing this, you know, because you guys, look, you guys and gals have supported this mission, and I really appreciate you, and this presentation's for you. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to start with some numerology and some mathematics. Revolving door is a 58, and you know, you've been paying attention. 58's tied to the word puppet master. 58's tied to the word remote control, which is, you know how I feel about this reality. But when you bring it into the string of mathematics, I'm going to use the golden ratio 1.61, and then I'm going to be showing the measurements of pi, which is 3.144. There are two different pi's that I know of that exist. And I'm going to show you the third one, the 3.141, that a lot of you still use. And, you know, I still use it a little bit here and there, but I'm really fixated on the golden ratio because it's tied to light. Okay, so you notice that the 58 through the golden ratio is going to give you a total of 127 when you add it up, and then the 58 is going to give you a total of 619 through the 3.144 pi added up. And I want to digress and show you, if you do it through the 3.141 pi, 58 is going to show up at digit 11 and 12 if you count the 3 point. And when you add it up, folks, there's the 58 right there. You're going to get 52. And you've been paying attention. What is the 52? Prison planet. Bam! Just like that, folks. And then you just go to the periodic table, and there's the picture. You can't get any more clear than this here. So the revolving door, is it just life, death, life, death, life, death? Or can we get off that samsara wheel? I do have a big decode coming out on this right here, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a big one. So, you know, this one's going to be on the Patreon as well, so stick around for that. But, you know, going back to this, you know, 52 and it being tied to the measurement of pi, it's got the 127 for the average weight, and we saw that 127 because it's right here for the total addition where the 58's found from revolving door in the science of numbers numerology. So you see the big connection there? And that's why it doesn't matter if the 3.141 is not exactly measuring a perfect circle, because it's part of the source code. So it does not matter. So continually use your pi and your phi, and use both of them if you can, because they both have their merit in the, say, the source code. But what about the 127 and the 619 added up? Let's talk about that. We know this is prison planet, the revolving door, but let's talk about it. And I'm going to go right to ancient Egypt. See, I knew this once I looked at the numbers. This was a big deal, these two numbers, the 127 and the 619, because they're both prime numbers. Both of them. And when you add them up, the prime 31 and 114, you're going to get 149. If you do the 127 and you add up the 619, you're going to get a different outcome. Obviously, you're going to get the 1040. No, I'm sorry. What is it? It's the 746. That's right. 746, which 46 is tied to our DNA. 7 is the completion of that with the chakras. But anyway, let's roll with this 145. I knew that it meant ancient Egypt because I have this memorized. The Great Pyramid of Giza, that cluster of energy and where that is, the location on a map, the latitude, longitude, how important this is when you add them up, 29 degrees north and 31 degrees east, you're going to get a total of 60. And that's going to lead to neodymium and 60, ladies and gentlemen, just so we can be crystal clear. Go into numerology again. It's this. Feed the wolf. Wolf is tied to 24, which is tied to the word machine. You see, so we're really getting down to the nitty gritty of this. Is ancient Egypt, does it have anything to do with our reality? I've talked about this. What if these things got taken down completely? Would it change or alter the fabric of our reality? And I think it would. I'm a firm believer it would. I'm going to support that a little bit more. And what does that have to do with the revolving door? Well, you see, I have promethium here because if you take the numbers after the decimal, 29.97, and you add up 31.13, this is what it's going to look like right here. And now you move from neodymium to promethium and the story of Prometheus, which I've already covered. The movie Prometheus, 2012. Why did it come out in 2012? You drop the 0, you get 212, and that's sublimation of water to a gas. That's like physical to spirit. Is this the revolving door? And did Prometheus enter into Egypt to plant the seeds of our DNA? Do our DNA have anything to do? Is this the revolving door? The pyramids, do they have anything to do with that? Notice what the number is, the outcome. It's the damn golden ratio. And it's, Prometheus itself. So we not only have 145 from the revolving door of these two big mathematical expressions from the science of numbers, where the locations are, but we also have it tied to alchemy and promethium and neodymium and feed the wolf and the golden ratio through the mathematics of the latitude, longitude. How big is this? So the revolving door, ladies and gentlemen, how big is the 61 since it's right there? Well, the 61's tied to the damn moon. 61 being the 18th prime number. The word Jesus equals 18. The word Christ equals 18. And we now have the moon card in the tarot. And remember, the moon is called the god of sin. Jesus was there to take your sin away. So is believing in the Christ, biting the Eucharist and drinking the blood and doing all those rituals, does that just get you recycled back in through the revolving door? And that part of everlasting life as talked about in theology in the most popular spell book, the Judeo-Christian Holy Bible. See, I think that's the case. That's why the church uses it. That's why the state and government uses it. But there's a big portal that is tied to the moon. The whole story of that, folks. And is the moon the revolving door that gets you recycled back in, recycled back in? Is this a samsara wheel here in ancient Hinduism? See, I think there's a big piece of this that's tied to this. And we're going to get a little bit more into that as we go along through this presentation. So let's get into numerology and tarot and match it up and get a picture of the numerology output and go to the 38 and the 20. Now, I have a big decode coming out on Jesus and Lucifer. This one will be exclusively on Patreon as well, the full presentation. And Jesus is 8 and Lucifer is 3. And it's tied to the revolving door. Door is 20, duality is 20. Birthday is 20. Pawn is 20, Mason is 20, Jesuit is 20. Those people don't get hall passes, folks. These are the tarot cards linked to what it looks like to get the picture. And we have the companion, we have the contract with God, we have the communion, the 38th card in the deck. Okay? This is contract with God. This is Jesus and Lucifer right here, man. That's what this whole thing means. And this is, the 2 cups, servicing duality. And then the pulse of light. And then the 20th card is the judgment card. And it doesn't, see, a lot of people, when they look at the judgment card, oh, am I going to get judged? Well, this is a graduation card as well, the judgment card. There's a lot of symbolism with this. It's got the double X on there, the double X. If you know how the DNA works, the double X is completely masculine. Okay? The Y is what determines the sex. I'm sorry, feminine. Feminine. All right? Completely feminine. So there's a lot of interesting aspects just with the Roman numerals on these cards. But this is what Revolving Door looks like from the science of numbers into the tarot. And then we bring it into alchemy. And we get an extended look at Revolving Door, and we go back to Phi again because strontium is 38 and calcium is 20. And calcium is where we get our bag of bones. 99% of our calcium is in our bones and teeth. The average atomic mass is 40. The word television is going to equal the number 40. Okay, the word television equals the number 40. So we get duality and television here. We're on television. And then, of course, we add these up through the atomic masses and we get 100. We go right back to that 127 again and we get prison planet with tellurium, the 52, which is found through the 3.141 golden ratio where the 58 is found. And the 127, we go right back up here and it's the total addition of where that 58 is found in the string of the golden ratio. How about that? Really interesting, right? So far, so good, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get into the topics of conversation. That was the intro to start this thing off with a bang. And now we're going to get into the 3 topics for this presentation. And number 1, we're going to get into the word enter. Number 2, we're going to get in the word exit. I already did an exit decoded. I hope all of you have watched that. And then the actual title of this decode, the third one is Revolving Door. So let's get into the number 1 topic right here. And we're going to talk about enter. Enter. Okay. Enter starting with the letter E. The letter E is the 5th letter in the alphabet. 5 is tied to the doorway. Ecosystem. Entrance. So many big letters are tied to the E. Okay. And I'm going to start this thing right off with the cards of illumination. And this system, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this is really, there's so many secrets in here, but when you know how to read it, it's so simple. And so first and foremost, just follow my narration. I got a lot going on here. Here is these words called enter the game of life. I have the word enter circled first. Now it's a total of 80. So what I did is I grabbed solar spread number 80. Okay. So it gives us the total output of what it means to enter the game of life. And now I'm going to kind of break it down and break it down into a fractal. Now, I'm going to digress because you're probably going to want to know, I want to get this and start doing this on my own. So here is the website right here that I use for my solar spreads when I want to get a really good look at it. KnowYourDestinyCards.com. You actually have to click on About the Cards and then the spreads right here. And then you'll have this thing pop out on the left. You got to hit that. And then you have all your 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30. And then you just click on whatever spread you want, whatever age you are. This is how you find the lineage of where your card is. And if you know how to read these wherever your card is for your birthday, you'll be able to kind of read about how your energy is going to be expressed for that year. So this is going to be solar spread number 80. And it's a little bit better for its showing than what I'm using right here. But this is solar spread number 80. So I'll leave that in the description so you can click on it and use it for yourself. Okay. But I'm going to start with the word enter. And it's the 21. Now, as you have been told already by me through studying these cards and showing you these cards, these cards all sit on numbers. It's like a bingo chart. Okay. It starts at number 1. It moves right to left. It does a zigzag, and then it goes to the 52nd position, which is always going to be the King of Spades. It does not move. So anyway, that's a little bit of inside information on that. But the 21st space, which is sitting in Saturn and Neptune's line, is going to be occupied by the 10 of hearts. So we enter the game of life. The word enter is 21. That's going to the world card and the major arcana. The 10 of hearts, we get the picture, and there it is. 10 of hearts is the 10th card. The 10th card sits in the house of Capricorn. So Capricorn's ruled by Kronos. Kronos is time. We enter time. That's what it means. And when you enter time to become a human being, you now enter this, creating a family, The 10 of hearts is the 10 of cups. This is card 45 or 46, depending on if you use the Fool twice. Okay? And it's tied to our DNA, ladies and gentlemen. It's tied to Pandora's box and our DNA. We enter Pandora's box and our DNA. That's what this means. And then we go into the total 80 and space number 80. And you have to extend it. Here's space number 80. How I found that? We just go 52, and now we have to repeat it. We go back down here to 53, 54, and this is what it looks like. Okay, 53 all the way through, and we get to the number 80, the space number 80. And space number 80 is going to be occupied by the Ace of Spades. That infamous, notorious Ace of Spades. And we get the picture through the tarot, and it's the Ace of Swords. Notice the crown at the top, meaning victory. Aces are always beginnings. This, to me, is the implant in your brain. This is going to be card 50 and 51. In God We Trust is 50. This is the Tin Man, looking for its heart, looking for love. 51 is the antimony, which is the implant in your brain, the all-seeing eye tied to antimony and not alone, and you know the rest. This is a big-time pronunciation right here. I mean, expression. 50 and 51, Ace of Swords. And then you have the Ace of Spades, the actual card itself. It's the 40th card in the deck. Remember, calcium has an atomic mass of 40. It's tied to our bones and teeth. And then you get into that show, Westworld, the movie that came out in 1973. Basically saying spirit on vacation. It's on you're on television, folks. And we're waking up to this. That's what the whole HBO show was all about. People realize, like, wait a minute. What's going on here? 40. Tied to our bones. Tied to zirconium, which comes from the word zargon, which means gold colored, because you're being used for your energy through your gold exchange. So all this means as you enter the game of life, even here, even through the Hebrew, the biblical expression for the tree of life is an 80, folks. This is the original where it came from, this whole context. Tree is 34, life is 46. Remember where that 46 was? I go right back up here, and here it is. We enter into the game of life. It's shown here, and then it's shown through the numerology of Hebrew, through Judaism, and the Ace of Spades, and we enter Westworld. Okay? Well, your mind's not your own. It says right in Genesis 6 verses 3, it says, my spirit shall not reside in man forever. Can we break free from that? Well, I think that's the whole context of these ages that we move through. But that's for a different story. But let's keep going, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to show a little bit about the 50 here. How big the King of Cups card is. Keeping it in Solar Spread 80. And I'm showing the King of Cups because it's card 13, and 13 is tied to the keys, man. 1 and 3 are the keys. It's pi and phi. 1.61, 3.14. The 1 and the 3 are the keys, the ticket. It's the King of Hearts, tied to the sun. And it's the King of Cups tied to the 50, and in God We Trust is 50. Remember, there were 50 Bitcoin mined for when it released Genesis Block 0 on January 3rd. 50 is the Tin Man looking for his heart. It's spirit coming down to play the game of life. And when you get down here, you're now entertainment for the gods or God. And it sits in space number 95, one half of the I am. So beautiful, this thing, ladies and gentlemen. And just for the kicker here, and you know, if you've been following other people that talk about the 201, well, what is the 201? It's tied to Mercury. Mercury, okay? The trickster. But it's 80, tied to the tree of life, folks. Mercury tied to the way you communicate and your brain as well. So that was the enter. Let's now get into exit. I'm going to use the same methodology for what I did for enter, and I'm going to now use and start with the numerology for the full expression of exit the game of life. It was 80 to enter. Exit is 74. This is what most people are going to be interested in. Like, a lot of people don't want to be here anymore. Is there a way to get out of this game? Well, I'm going to show you some possibilities. First, we're going to start like I did with the enter. We're going to start with exit, 15. So I'm going to Solar Spread 74 for the total numerology. And I'm going to look for space 15. And what card is occupying it? It's a Saturn-Mercury card. And here it is. It's the Four of Hearts. Anytime you see the four, it means the cube, north, south, east, and west, the box, squaring the circle, the masonry, okay? The cube, okay? Saturn's magic square, etc., etc. The Four of Hearts converts into the Four Cups. And this is where it gets super interesting and so prophetic here, because this card right here, like we're talking about exiting the game here, folks. This guy sitting here, or this individual sitting under a tree, its arms are folded, and this energy is very standoffish, like not wanting to let anything in. And you see right there that there's a cup that's flying towards this individual. He's got, and the whole representation of this card is like boredom. Like, I'm bored. I'm tired of playing this game. Like, here's my screenplay in front of me. I already, and this is, to me, ladies and gentlemen, this, you know that this game is scripted. You know that there's a predestination layer to this reality. You're following your screenplay to a major degree. And when you come to the realization that the yin yang, the good and bad, are two sides of the same coin, you may come to that position in life where you don't want to play anymore. So think about what I'm showing you, how profound this is. Exodus 15, and the Four of Hearts sits in that space number 15 on Solar Spread 74 for Exit the Game of Life. See, this is life handing you something. Like, it's handing you a husband or a wife or a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Are you sure? You go out and you meet somebody and you fall in love, and the next thing you know, you're playing the game of life, just like that. You know, you get offered this major job at a company. Are you sure? It's like kind of unavoidable, folks, this game. But there's also that layer of neutrality where you can see that I'm not going to partake in the dirty laundry anymore, because I know that the dirty laundry is owned by the same boss that owns the clean laundry. Right? So there is that aspect, this dichotomy here of the yin yang, and it's just you not wanting to play. You want to exit the game here. 39th card in the deck, 39's tied to Lucifer. The original spelling, Halil, is 39, which runs this reality. The light runs this reality. That's its job. Okay? That's its job. So we're going to move on here, and we're now going to look at a little bit of extensions through alchemy and the 15th card in the major arcana, because if you want to exit the game of life, clearly the 15th card in the major arcana, it's the devil. You want to unchain yourself and say, I'm not playing anymore, because you own both sides of the same coin. And it's boring when you see that this reality is owned by the same boss, playing out its own game and controlling mankind by engaging in the game, by offering you something. And here's the light. Here's, phosphorus through the Greek, tied to Lucifer. pH, the abbreviation for that's tied to our blood. Our blood's measured in pH. Potential hydrogen, tied to the sun. 30's tied to the word demiurge. And if you add 15 and 30 up, you're going to get 45, and that's Pandora's box. Okay? So this is where the devil's story comes in, and Lucifer's story come in, and light slowed down into physical matter, etc., etc. So when you realize how this game works, you may be that person that's sitting under that tree and you're like, you're like, meh, I don't feel like playing anymore. But life sucks you in. It gets exciting. I'm telling you, someone will come along and they'll intervene in your life, and next thing you know, you're playing the game again. It's just, you just wait and see in your life. You'll see how it works. Something will happen. And then you'll be able to sit there under the tree and figure out, do you want to stay or do you want to go, if that's even a possibility. So let's keep going here. So here is the total 74 and where the location of space 74 is. And it's going to be in the Jupiter-Mercury line. And it's going to, and of course, Jupiter has the great red spot on it, and that could be the mouth that I talked about, spit you out of thy mouth. But here it is, in space number 74. It's the Two of Diamonds. The Two of Diamonds. And this card, as you're going to see, is also tied to enter the game of life. So it's part of the revolving door. The Two of Diamonds being card number 28, Lucifer being 28. And it's going to be giving you the picture here of the Two of Pentacles, cards 65 and 66. This is your Kundalini right here. This is your yin yang. These are your two eyes, your two devils. See, the third eye is neutrality. This is you sitting here juggling both sides of the game. Good and bad cop, good cop, bad cop. Like you're juggling it. You're constantly juggling it. You have one energy whispering in your ear to do bad stuff. You have the other energy in your ear whispering to do good stuff. And there is the big clue. It's 74. It's feed the wolf. Feed the wolf is 60, tied to the Great Pyramid of Giza in the latitude, longitude. Tied to neodymium, which is very magnetic. This is the element called tungsten. But it goes by wolfram. Well, W is the 23rd letter, which is tied to your blood. These are big markers here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Exit the game of life. You're juggling your Ida and Pingala, your Kundalini here. That's what this is telling all of us. Okay? With exit the game of life. You exit being a human being. Remember that Bethlehem sits at 31 degrees and 35 degrees, and that's 66. The Jesus Christ birth city is the number 66. You enter into being the Jesus Christ character, which is also tied to Lucifer. It's one half. One side is good cop, the other side is bad cop. You're going to juggle those your entire life as you are as a human being. That's what all this stuff means right here. But let's keep going, ladies and gentlemen. How about the 28th card in the deck, the Two of Diamonds, and what it's tied to through numerology and alchemy? I've already mentioned that this is Lucifer and Jesus. It has to be both because of that birth city of 66 for Bethlehem. So here is the 28th card in the deck, the Two of Diamonds. And, again, the Ida and the Pingala. Anytime you see the twos, these are such powerful cards, by the way. Some of the top rulers in the world have this card as their birth card. How about Putin, the Russian president? He's got this as his birth card. How about the president of China? He's got this as his birth card. Really, really powerful. And now you know why, of what it's tied to. Okay? It's tied in alchemy, it's tied to nickel. Nickel's got 28 protons. It's known as devil's copper. So if you want to exit the game of life, you're exiting the devil. Copper is very magnetic. 57 is the most abundant isotope for nickel. 57 is tied to the words The Truman Show. This is going to be element isotope 58. 58 is tied to Revolving Door. Okay? Do we ever get out of this game, folks? That's the question. Do we ever get out of this movie? That's the big question mark behind everything at this point. Do we ever get out? Revolving Door. So now let's end this presentation with the final topic. For all you great Patreons, thanks once again for your support. We're going to get into the third topic, Revolving Door itself. And I'm going to break it down in a very unique way, but I've been doing this a long time. This is brand new, exactly in this format, but I've shown this before. Any number that you get past the number 52, especially if you have a birth certificate name, like this right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is my full birth certificate name. Now, I've said this before. My birth certificate name is 64, but if I add on my mother's maiden name, I am an 80. And here I am showing you this information, okay, tied to the tree of life. Well, when you get a number that's above the 52 cards of the deck, you got to subtract 52 to get a number below 52. So if you land on 52, it would be the King of Spades. But if you have 53, you got to subtract 52 again, and you would have the Ace of Hearts. But this is what it looks like to enter the game of life, okay? Which is also tied to the exit the game of life. It's the Two of Pentacles. So it's 28 that we get to enter the game of life. 80 minus 52 is 28. 28th card in the deck is the Two of Diamonds. Two of Diamonds is the Two of Pentacles, card 66. And it's tied to nickel. So it's also tied to exit. The Revolving Door. Nickel. The average atomic mass, 58. Puppet master's 58. Remote control is 58. 58 is that big number tied to the pi and phi in the beginning of this. Revolving Door is 58. You see, folks, how crazy scripted this is? And then we do the same thing for exit the game of life. We have 74. We minus the 52. We get 22. And we get the 22nd card called the Nine of Clubs. This is the November 11th card, by the way. The 1111 card is tied to exiting the game of life. How about that? It's tied to titanium. Titanium, which is from the Titans, the sons and daughters of Gaia, which is Earth. Perhaps how we all got here. But there's the 47, Tetragrammaton 47. I mean, there's so many clues with this. Titanium tied to Titan and Saturn's moon. Saturn has so much, Saturn being the ruler of time. And this is the Wounded Warrior card. This is card number 31. Remember how big that 31 was? It's tied to the 127, which is tied to Prison Planet. So do we ever get out? That's the big question. This is the Wounded Warrior. So like you start here. You enter the game. And you start here by juggling your Kundalini. And this is a card of multitasking and having to take on a family. And you're just juggling your life. And by the time you're ready for death, folks, this is what it looks like. This is what death looks like. This is the Wounded Warrior card. I mean, it doesn't get any more picture perfect than this in describing how this reality. And this is what you're going to face one day. You're going to face death, and you're going to be, you're going to be bandaged up. Some of you're going to have titanium rods in your body. You're going to have missing this. You're going to have missing that. You're going to have, whatever's going on with you. The Wounded Warrior, the 9, it's the 9. The 9 is the great repeater number, by the way. And you put any number next to the number 9, it's going to repeat it. You put the 4 next to it, it's going to repeat down to the 4. 49 gives you 13. 1 plus 3 is 4. The 9. So I'm telling you, we're in a revolving door. Do we ever get out? Well, the 9 is a repeater number. And even if I reduce these down, 28 is going to reduce down to the number 1. 22 is going to reduce down to the number 4. That's going to give you the number 14. And the word time equals 14. The word God equals 14. And if I bring in the 41, that's Elohim. 41's tied to Elohim, folks. So there's so many ways to slice and dice this. Let's keep going here because we do have our DNA intact here for sure. Because when you take the 28 and you add the 22 to it, you're going to get the number 50. When you add the 58.693 and you add the 47.867, you're going to get the 106. I'm going to talk about that because that's what we're talking about through the expression of this picture right here, the DNA. I talked really fast on that. So once you get your calculators, I think I have this slide. There it is. You add up the atomic masses of enter the game of life and exit the game of life. And just like that, you have the 106.56. And on the back end of the decimal, what is 56? Lights, camera, action. What is 106? It's tied to our DNA, folks. Right here is the 2 base pairs of our DNA. I covered this in DNA Decoded. Adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. 106. It's tied to Ra. And Ra is tied to Saturn. Got a big decode coming out on that for all you great decoders. Just like that, folks. There you go. Revolving door. Do we ever get out? This says movie right here. This says DNA. DNA and movie. You're on television. You're in a simulation. 56 being tied to barium. 56 lights, camera, action. Spirit into matter. 56. You see? So do we ever get out? And then we see the 2 and the 9 here on these cards. So many ways to look at this, right? If you do the numerology of titanium and nickel, you get the 45. And what's 45? Pandora's box. 45. 45. From nickel and titanium. You're in Pandora's box. Do we ever get out? That's the big question mark. Can we ever get out? Here's kind of, I did my bloodline. It's one of my favorite decodes I ever did. Are we part of this? Is this Prometheus? Pandora's box being 45. When you add up all these numbers, this is Saturn's magic square. You're going to get 45. 45. These 2 are 45. The revolving door to enter and exit. 45, folks. Do we ever get out? That's the big question. So let's get back to the 50 here, right? Because when you take the 28th card in the deck, found from enter the game of life, and you add in exit the game of life with the 22, you get the 50. I already showed how big the 50 was through solar spread number 74 or 80. King of Cups. See, this king right here is all about unconditional love. It doesn't have any aspects of, it knows you, like when you know how this reality works, you're this king who's on water, right? It's the king of love, and it's unconditional love. See, whatever created this reality has to have unconditional love because it just lets things go on and doesn't intervene. Yeah, it may intervene through nature. It may end up changing things. And of course, the ages through the Kali Yuga and the Satya Yuga and the Yugas through Hinduism and all these stories, they change because it's cyclical. But do we ever get out? Well, maybe we just become the Tin Man when we incarnate. That's what this means. It's the 50th card in the deck. These two add up to the number 50. And you get tin. And the most abundant atomic mass isotope of tin is 119. There's the 902 on the back end. There's uranium. 50. Why 50? 50 is all over the place. In God we trust is 50. Because it uses mankind and because it's also tied through the story of the Wizard of Oz, the Tin Man who was looking for his heart. See, when you come down into this reality, when you enter the game of life, you have to juggle life. And as you walk through life, you're looking for love. That's what this whole Tin Man story was about. I'm looking for my heart. You're looking for love. You're looking to hump. You're looking to create a relationship. You're looking to build a business that you fall in love with. You're looking to buy a car that you fall in love with. You're looking to build a home with your family that you fell in love with. And by the time you're ready to die, folks, you look like this. You're ready to check out, man. You're ready to check out. Maybe you got a disease. Maybe you got a sickness. Maybe you got a cancer. Maybe you got whatever. It's the wounded warrior. And does the cycle just repeat all over again? See, this is the God, man, coming down and using mankind to look for love and create and experience its own reality. That's my final answer on this right here. Here's the 50th card through the cards of illumination, the Jack of Spades, one of the Jesus cards, got the J right on it. And it converts into the Knight of Swords. So see, when you enter into this game, this is what you're going to act through. This card is all about revolutionary, taking massive action. The swords represent, earth and taking action. The jacks are the knights. And when you go through all these battles, when you enter the game of life, you get like this, the wounded warrior. And then does the cycle just repeat all over again? It's kind of what this is looking like right here. Through the cards, we have the 92 or the 29. Here is the value of alchemy. The 9 of clubs, the 2 of diamonds, 92. Uranium, Uranus, which just may be the full expression of Vishnu in Hinduism. And then you have copper. Copper being tied to the Christ. Boaz and Yachin, the 2 pillars, copper. Okay, the sun and moon tied to that. And I showed how this is tied to exit the game of life, copper. All right, if you watch my exit decoded. These are really, really big markers. When you say the 9 of clubs, 2 of diamonds for enter and exit, you get 109 and that's 29. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen, you see it? 29. For the damn cards that it's on. When you say, that's how tightly woven Chaldean numerology is with the cards, the tarot, and mathematics. That's why it's the king of all ciphers, in my opinion. 29, 109. Of course, this is tied to Yaldabaoth, by the way. Yaldabaoth is 29. So you get the Gnostic demiurge in there as well. And maybe Yaldabaoth is everything that all the other religions talk about, all their deities. It's all just a big Ponzi scheme, if you ask me. And then if you say the 9 of wands, you do the tarot, the 9 of wands and 2 of pentacles, you go right back to that number 50. 50 this and 50 that. And God we trust is 50. And this to me is the big marker for mankind being used. Just along for the ride, man. That's what this whole thing is talking about with this right here. For the numerology of the tarot cards, the numerology of the cards of illumination. And, I did a decode on the 92. 92 being tied to the 33. The 92, which is tied to right here. The opposite of the 29. 92 on the cards. You can see it's all there. It's like a big machine. It's just a big ass machine, ladies and gentlemen. And there you have it. Revolving door decoded. And that's the end, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you really appreciated this decode and you got a lot of nuggets out of it. I had a lot of fun creating this one. And this was like last minute for me, honestly. Just popped into my head. This is my life. Things pop into my head, and then I just go with something, and I see something, and this one just grabbed a hold of me. So there you go. Your comments are welcome. Your comments are welcome, so keep them coming. Sending you a ton of love wherever you're at in the world. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.